Hi everybody, Levi Clay here, and we are back again for another episode of the Guitar Souls podcast. I know you are probably surprised by the passion with which that intro came. That would be because Mike did the intro last week, and it's just work for him, whereas it's love, and it's love for me.
That's it. This is all just a fucking effort.
I know. How's it going, buddy?
Good, man. How are you?
Yes, I should introduce Mike McLaughlin, Party Cannon fame, the rosiest, reddest cheeks, Mr. Kidney Fiddler,
Yep.
Mr. Exceptional Body Hair. All of these things are, absolutely true.
Mr. Not really much muscle. I don't know why I did that, but that makes sense.
Yeah, that probably the worst thing I can say, but you lifted your arms up there and they did look rather scrawny. So,
yeah.
Sorry about that, man.
That's what it is.
I need to lift some heavier riffs. That doesn't make any sense. Tattoos are the solution.
I should just go to the gym and not be a lazy fuck.
But being lazy is awesome.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of being lazy and eating food. I do enjoy the gym. Actually, on that note, that's why we're not doing Album Club this week, because for me, Album Club is very much a case of I listen to the Album Club album when I'm in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been really busy this week and I've not been to the gym, and my leg is a bit fucked as well, which has made that side of things difficult. So we're not doing that this week, unfortunately. I know, yeah. Having said that, we're going to introduce a new thing, right? We're going to listen to 2 new albums, not like here's an album I like, you go listen to it, and here's an album you like, I'll go listen to it. But there are 2 new albums out this week. I just thought I would make mention of them.
Mm-hmm.
One being Polyphia's new album, which is called
New Levels, New Devils.
New Levels, New Devils. So rather annoyingly, this album came out the day we uploaded the podcast last week, where we were making a bit of a joke about Tim Henson. And apparently we didn't make any effort to see what the band were actually up to. We just wanted to laugh at Tim.
Fuck it, they're getting a promotion now. If you want to have heard of the album, it's apparently really, really good. Kieran gave it quite good reviews. I know you've said you've heard a few tracks you really like, so it'd be good to give that a good...
Yeah, it's very different
blast
from what we normally listen to, but...
oh, yeah.
I don't think it's never going to be like a favourite album of mine, but I like kind of the way I put it is I like listening to all the music that the kids are listening to today, just to try and sort of understand, because we all know what it's like thinking back to when you were 14 and you're listening to all the new metal, obviously, because that's new metal or death kind of thing. You look disgusted.
I'm just like, I still got my finger in the pulse. You're the old man here.
But you've got, well, evidently not, because I've listened to the new Polyphia album, so...
Touche?
Yeah. But
Touche?
You know what it's like when you're younger and your parents listen to the music and they're like, oh, it's all just noise to me. It's all just noise to me. I want to be a little bit trendier than that. I'd like to be kind of as much on the pulse as I can be. So.
I can't wait till Finley's listening to music and I'm like, that is some weak shit. Get some dying fetus in your ear, son.
Yeah, you playing Party Cannon, so you're going to be able to turn around to Finley and say, What is this nonsense? It's not just noise.
It's melody. What's this even metered fucking nonsense?
Yeah.
Funny story before we go any further. I was in the car with Finley earlier on, and I have a few random CDs in the car. I don't have many, and the ones that I do have are CDs that I've got from friends or from bands that I've been on tour with or whatever else. It's quite strange ones, and usually I don't listen to them too often. Not because I don't like them, just because it's not really appropriate to have like extreme death metal in the car all the time when you've got people jumping in, especially not when you've got like bands such as Gutfuck and the album art's like a woman being dissected and I'm trying to take my gran to the bingo. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't really work. Anyway, Finley was like, what's that? So I was like, oh, put it on then. And it's a band called Sickening Entertainment, and they've done a split with a band called Cascaf, who are good friends of mine. And I skipped the Sickening Entertainment because I'm not really keen on their music, but I like the Cascaf stuff, and we've been on tour with them a few times, so I know the tracks. And out of nowhere, and I tried to film it, but I missed it. I had whatever song it was on, and Finley started singing Twinkle Twinkle over the top of it, and it was like perfectly in time. It was fucking incredible. It was so good. Like, I wish I'd filmed it.
I think we should clarify here, because you just talk about Finley like everyone knows who Finley is.
My 3-year-old stepson.
Yeah. No, not boyfriend or anything. Like,
no, not my toy boy.
Because that would be also amazing, out in the car with me, and I'd just sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star over party can, anything to get myself through it, to be honest.
That's exactly how I would do it, to be fair.
Yeah. So new levels, new devils, but also we've got to throw a mention out to Andy James. His new album is out today, and rather annoyingly, I have not made a note of what the damn thing is called, and I should know better than anyone what it's called because I transcribed the bastard. 2 seconds. It'll be in my Patreon group.
Imagine everybody listening. Imagine
Arrival.
being this professional.
Yeah. Arrival.
On our level. we arrived at the point. Arrival. Cool.
I can tell you that. I can tell you there's 12 tracks on it.
And I can tell you it's probably going to be fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's worth a listen. Very, very cool. Fun fact. Andy won't listen to the podcast, so he probably won't care. He probably wouldn't hide this anyway, to be fair. But there's no bass on the album. No bass.
Really?
Yeah. It's all MIDI. Yeah, all Contact using the ABZ5 Half Moon plugin, and then he's just put plugins on that,
which is fine because you can get away with some ridiculous sounds. I mean, there's even just some plugins themselves. You don't need to put other ones on top of it that give some outrageous sounds.
Yeah.
You would let me have the Dingwall one that you've got?
Yeah, is that?
Oh, that very one.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, once you fuck about with that a wee bit, you can pretty much get it to just be a bass.
Yeah, because you literally the MIDI command literally just tells Contact to play this sample that is recorded, and the sample is that bass, a DI signal for that bass.
Yeah, you even get the string rattle through it, which is quite a nice touch.
Yeah, it's I thought that was really cool, and it sounds great. The whole record sounds great, and Andy did all of the production and mixing himself, I believe. So yeah, he's getting better at that side of things, and
looking forward to hearing it.
Give it a spin. Anyway, so we've got a few subjects to talk about today. We're going to talk about a couple of lawsuits.
As you said yourself, as you're well aware of them.
I know lawsuits well.
Yeah, you've had your brush with the law.
Yeah. Got another pending one that I probably should have mentioned. I'll bring it up on the podcast, actually. Why not?
Yeah, that'd be a good story.
What's happened there.
Live reaction.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to talk about the Faceless. Or the Bandless.
Yeah, the Gigless.
Again, talking about the Faceless.
Again.
I've never even listened to this band, but the amount of time I've talked about them is just...
I think that's a shame because genuinely... I Killed Him, which is the first album, and Planetary Duality, which is the second album, are fucking great.
Well, that's what album club's for. Bear that in mind.
Yep. I don't think you'd appreciate them, but you're going to get them at some point.
I may do.
No, I think you would, actually. Sorry, let's move on.
We're going to talk about Slash.
We haven't spoken about him at all.
Yeah.
Ever.
We hadn't actually planned to talk about Slash, but we were just scrolling through some news feeds, weren't we? And literally the title of the story made me burst out laughing. I couldn't believe what I was reading. So.
Some content makes itself, doesn't it?
Yes.
Like it's like a story that was written all on its own.
For us. I imagine Slash was doing an interview and he thought to himself, I mean, I've got to give Levi and Mike something to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So... yeah, this is our weekly Slash update. There's a little bit of news regarding Marty Friedman, Yngwie Malmsteen, and some dildos. Not that those two things are connected, though I'm sure Malmsteen probably has a huge collection of dildos.
It could be.
Mike seems to be worried. No, don't worry about that.
Okay, fine. Just in case.
No, it's just...
I was just trying to hide the porn folder that Levi's got on my screen. I'm like, just in case anyone sees it.
All of my dildos, yeah. Okay,
MikeNaked.jpg.
So lawsuits.
Lawsuits.
We are going to talk about, well, it was going to be 2 lawsuits, but I guess potentially 3 if we're going to talk about my latest pending one.
Oh, fuck knows
it's not actually an issue, but it's fun to talk about and demonstrate how much of a fucking idiot I can be sometimes. Yeah.
No comment.
Yeah. So the first story is Lindsey Buckingham.
Yes, of the famous band Fleetwood Mac. Ironically, we're introducing them with the band name, and the problem is with the band.
Yeah. So give us a rundown. What's happened?
But the gist of what I've read, if you are aware of the band to any level, you'll know that Lindsey and
Stevie Nicks.
Stevie Nicks, that's the one. My brain went completely blank there. Obviously have had an on-off relationship, not only in the band but personally for years and years. And the latest incarnation of the band basically was a standoff of you either have Lindsey in the band or you have me, Stevie, in the band, but not both. And Lindsey's basically turned around to say that was the scenario, but they've went on tour without me anyway, so I didn't really get a choice. Fuck them. I think he also is saying that he feels he was pushed from the band. That basically he was flung out and didn't have an option.
Yeah, he's been very vocal about saying, like, I have been able to tour and willing to tour. They just don't want me on the tour with them. And because they don't want me and I'm not going out on the road and it wasn't my choice, I feel that I should still be getting a quarter of the money for the gigs and the tours. Which, on the one hand, I look at and go, well, that's not going to happen, is it? That's fucking ludicrous. But there is a lawsuit. It is happening. It is happening in America. So,
it could happen.
There's, never say never. It could. But what do you think? Do you think he's got a case?
I think he's got a case to say that he is still due some royalties from the songs that he was part of the recording and the writing of, but to try and claim the wages of people who've actually went out in the labour of doing the gigs, I get that it wasn't his choice not to be there, but he's not there, so why should you be paid for other people's labour?
Yeah, the rest of the band didn't want you there, which is a shame. It's totally. It seems like a lawsuit over hurt feelings, but it just is what it is. I don't see the legal argument. I'm not a lawyer, so of course I don't see the legal argument. I'm sure he's
another great subreddit, by the way. I am not a lawyer.
I'm not a lawyer. Okay,
for legal advice, but not actual legal advice. Sorry.
I follow a couple of lawyers on YouTube. I'm sure I mentioned this before. I do watch quite a few lawyers' channels who just talk about ongoing lawsuits, and I find it very interesting. I may reach out to one of those guys and see if we can talk about some stuff, because we have mutual interests and mutual contacts. So that could be quite fun.
Definitely, that'd be a good video.
Yeah, yeah. He's not a musician, obviously. He's a lawyer, but it'd be interesting to get an actual experienced person's opinion on something like this.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So it seems wrong of me to say you have no idea how much of a pain in the arse editing all of your coughing out of the last podcast was.
Sorry for being ill, Levi.
Yeah.
I'll just tell my immune system to man the fuck up while I...
It's more that I need to pay attention. When you lift your hand up, I need to not say anything, and then it's quite easy to edit out. But there were a couple of moments in the last time where you coughed and I was talking, and it's like, well, there's not much I can do about this.
Just leave it. Yeah. Fuck it. No one's listening anyway.
Good point. Anyway, so for me to say this case doesn't have merit is ridiculous, because I'm not a lawyer. A lawyer has taken this on, so clearly someone feels that it has merit. But yeah, it's very strange to me that this would be a case, because as you point out, if you're not going out and doing the work, you don't get paid for the work. You're not entitled to go out and do these gigs. That's not how it works.
Yeah, not just that, it's not in this article, but something else I read earlier on. By the seeming of things, when he's launched this legal case, he's out on tour doing his own stuff anyway.
Yes, I read that as well.
I don't know if he's playing Fleetwood Mac songs or if he's just doing his own other stuff, but you can't complain about loss of wages for a tour that you're not on whilst on a tour that's making up for those wages, surely.
I've not got the figures to hand, but when you pointed that, I remembered. So they wanted, if I recall, a reduced tour schedule where they were only playing 2 or 3 shows a week, and he wanted to be able to play solo shows in the days off.
Right? Is that part of the problem originally?
Potentially could have been part of the problem, but ultimately, I just don't see the issue. The business didn't line up. Maybe he does own the band, but just because you own a band, that actually, when I put it like that, I mean, if he legally does own a quarter of the band, then he will be entitled to some sort of revenue that the band makes, but not necessarily a wage.
No, I get that he is deserving of some royalties for his music, his art being performed, but as you say, not a quarter of the fucking proceeds.
Yeah,
because it's not just the fact that it's his contribution to the art that's being put out there. It's the effort to the rest of the band. You know what I mean? They're actually out physically performing. He's not. And whether that was his choice or not, he's not performing at those shows. So
here's a quote. Buckingham says he would have been paid at least I say a quote. It's not Lindsey didn't say this. This is a quote from, where are we reading from? The Hollywood Reporter. Buckingham says that he would have been paid at least $12 million for his share of the tour proceeds, which the remaining band members are now splitting. He is suing for breach of fiduciary duty and breach of oral contract, among other claims, and is asking the court for a declaration that because he is able and willing to perform on the tour and is being involuntarily excluded, he should still be paid his share of the revenue.
When you're talking about 12 million, I can understand why he's fucking suing. Give me that paper, boy.
But there's a better way to get that 12 million.
No, definitely.
Get on with Stevie Nicks. Be a likable, be someone that the rest of the band want to be around.
Yeah, but
let's be very realistic about this, right? As a band, a band that big, it will have been in everyone's interest to make sure that the lineup that was touring was as original as possible.
Of course.
So the decision to tour without him will not be one that was taken lightly.
Absolutely not, because it probably would have taken a hit for people turning up to shows as well.
Yeah, they'd make more money, I'm sure, if he was on tour with them.
Think about what Guns N' Roses are getting away with marketing these days because it's part of the original lineup.
Exactly. Yeah. So, it's not a decision they will have taken lightly. They will have really carefully considered it, and ultimately what it will have come down to is the relationship won't work with him there. So if you want to make that $12 million, be more likable. Get on with your band members. It's the hardest thing in the world to say because band members fall out. Like, I'm sure you've fallen out of band members in the past.
Oh, and probably will in the future as well. The problem with this is it's such an intimate thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, not to say you're sharing your deepest desires or whatever else, but you put a lot of heart or soul into your music, whether you're playing acoustic love ballads or genuinely playing death metal stuff. Like, you do it because there's passion involved.
Yeah.
It's just as much a labour of love as it is something that you want to pursue because there might be money behind it, or you want to build up a brand, or whatever your motivations are. And what comes with that generally is big personalities.
Yep.
Whether people are big personalities in other aspects of their life or not, you get very passionate and, I don't know, attached to these things, and it's easy for people to not agree over decisions, thoughts, feelings, how things went. So it's very easy to follow with people, and I've done it. I probably will continue to do it.
And in this kind of setting, I think it's too easy for you to let pride get the better of you. But like I say, I'm sure. Well, I don't say I'm sure. Maybe not all relationships are mendable, but I think that a lawsuit before maybe going back to your band members, throwing your hands up and saying, "Guys, look, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry our relationship has deteriorated to this point, and I don't want it to be like this. I don't want it to be like this for the times we've had, and I don't want it to be like this for the times that we may be able to have in future. More importantly, I don't want it to be like this for the fans that really want to come and see us. I want to do this tour, and let's find our way to make that happen. Let's do it for us. Let's do it for the past. Let's do it for the fans." And that's the human way of dealing with it.
Is it that simple when you've been in a relationship with someone you're in a band with, though? That's another big paradigm to consider.
Yes, it is that simple. But like I say, pride will get in the way.
It is that simple. Levi Clay.
Yeah.
Fucking marriage counsellor.
Point is, I agree. I also wouldn't do that because when I talk about pride getting in the way, super guilty of it. And boy, do I hold a grudge.
We're all human.
Yeah, boy, do I hold a grudge. As my family will tell you. So another lawsuit before we talk about my lawsuit that doesn't actually exist. Former Ghost members are appealing the dismissal of their lawsuit against Tobias Forge. So as many people will know, Ghost, very interesting band because they have that gimmick of Papa Emeritus. I forget his fucking name. I don't actually care that much. I thought their first album was alright. It had Mummy Dust on it, which I thought was quite cool. I've not listened to the new album. I probably should give it a spin.
I haven't even given them a listen other than, I think, the one single that they had out.
The one that they won a Grammy for that, didn't they?
Really?
Yeah. I quite like that single.
Can you hear it thunder? That one. That's quite a catchy tune, to be fair.
Good tune. Good video for it as well. Really good.
I haven't seen the video. And I've only really heard it a few times because a friend of mine put it on when we were in his kitchen drinking. So,
the first album was not fantastic. Like I say, the single is good, and I always remember the song "Mummy Dust" because it's got a cool riff in it. Cool band if you're into the kind of they sound very 70s. I'll give them that. They've got like a really kind of like 70s Black Sabbath comedy thing going on. It's like or Deep Purple, like big keyboards, chunky Mellotron type sounds. Not the worst band, but evidently not enough for me to listen to the new album. But point is, they've got a front man, and then in the background you've got the rest of the band, which would always be called Nameless Ghouls. And they weren't named. No one knew who they were.
No, there was a front man, really, as you know, it was Papa Emeritus, and then
yes,
if that's his name, something like that, at least in the Nameless Ghouls.
Yeah.
And the rumour was that it was always constantly rotating musicians.
Yeah, there were. I'm not sure if this is true based on this lawsuit. Probably
but that was
not.
the rumours, at least.
But well, even the band perpetuated the rumour that they'd had 3 singers. And that their current.
Oh, that's right. They're not doing like a stage show where it's like they're reborn with this new member and all that kind of shit. Okay, cool. So,
yeah, and
yawn gimmicks.
Yeah, it's kind of the same vibe as like Baby Metal to me. Like they've just got the guys in the back of the band, and then the main feature is really the lead singer.
Yeah.
So basically, the singer fired the rest of the band, I believe. Again, probably could have done a bit more research. I remember reading about it when it happened.
Yeah.
Nameless Ghouls fired. They weren't happy about it. They filed a lawsuit against Tobias Forge, alleging that he didn't fairly share the band's profits with them. So, you kind of look at something like that and you go, well, there must be some sort of merit to that. They must feel like equal members of the band. Mm-hmm. And this is probably the hardest bit of advice you can ever give out to anyone in a band. Talk about this stuff and get something in writing as soon as possible. It's the hardest conversation to have with your friends because you'll just look at it and go, but this isn't relevant because we're not making any money. But it will stop this happening if it ever does happen, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh, fireworks, dogs.
Do you want me to shut the window?
No, because they're hearing it in the living room. It's fine.
Fuck it.
Yeah. So, I feel this has been misreported. They've reportedly spent 2.9 Swedish krona, which apparently is $320,000. Is that maybe 2.9 million Swedish krona? I could be wrong. I mean, no, I'm not going to bother looking. But yeah, so they spent $320,000 on legal fees already.
So a single krona is the equivalent of $100,000 US. Sweden's doing good for itself. Jesus.
Yeah. So actually, when you look at this from that situation, you've got a group of band members that are willing to spend that sort of money. The amount of money that Ghost must have made, and therefore each of these band members feel they're entitled to, it must be a huge amount of money. So
at least enough for them to argue the case that they should be entitled to it.
Well, if they're willing to throw $320,000 after it, trying to get it, and that's been rejected. And on top of that, the judge who dismissed their case has also put a demand that they repay a portion of Tobias Forge's legal fees as well. So not only are they $320,000 down, but they've got even more fees to pay.
Boys, we've lost 5 krona. Not to make light of that, it's a fucking scary situation to find yourself in.
And this is ultimately the shitty situation with lawsuits, right? Like,
of course,
you just don't want to go down the route of them because, if it goes bad for you, it goes double bad.
Let's be incredibly honest. The only people that win in lawsuits are fucking lawyers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Payday regardless.
Yeah, you need to unless. I mean, I reckon the legal system would probably be a hell of a lot better if all lawyers by law had to work pro bono.
Yeah, they would, but it's never going to happen.
Yeah, because I could be wrong on this Lindsey Buckingham case, but there's very definitely a possibility that a lawyer is looking at going, probably not going to win this, but if you're going to be paying me $700 an hour, we'll give it a go.
No, we'll fucking go for it. Go for blood.
Yeah, so they have they're filing an appeal. Whether that goes well or not. As stated in the Blabbermouth story, that they feel bad for these guys, and I do too. It's an incredibly shitty situation, and it all could have been avoided if you just got something in writing at the start.
Music business.
Yeah.
Music business.
Focus on the business. Yeah. Maybe not when you're in the rehearsal studio and you've never played a gig, but the moment your band makes their first fucking penny, have the conversation.
Funnily enough, Party Can, I've never had that conversation, but I don't think we need to worry.
And no one ever does.
Exactly.
No one ever does think they need to worry until they need to worry about it. The reason I say it is because what do you think would happen if you had the conversation? Would everyone immediately agree that this is an equal thing, or is one member going to go, well, I think I contributed more?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
And that's why I say have the conversation.
Yeah, that's the scary part. You're right.
Because it would help me to know the people that I'm playing in a band with. If I worked with a singer who turned around and said, well, I mean, I wrote the lyrics to these songs, so I want 50% of the writing credit, rather than there's 4 of us in the band, therefore I want 25% of the writing credit.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know that up front.
I'd like to think that everybody would just be... I don't think anyone wouldn't be, let's just split it, because it's not as if the band makes any money just now, and everything that does get made goes right back into covering our own costs and making better opportunities. So I think it would probably just be are we really taking money out of this? Are we going to build it till it's something that's worth taking money out?
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah, so maybe we'll have a party cannon lawsuit in future. Who knows? But what we will talk about now is a Levi Clay lawsuit.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
One of the many, many lawsuits this man has faced.
Just keep them coming, guys. Like, I've got a lawyer now. Like, he's just there if I need him. It doesn't. I'm not frightened.
It's not good to say you've got a lawyer on retainer.
He's not on retainer, but you know.
But he is.
I got lucky, basically. I called around a couple of places and I ended up going to the nearest lawyer to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat down and had a conversation with the guy, and like 5 minutes in, you never want this when you're talking to a lawyer and he goes off on personal conversations, because you're charging me by the hour. You're £200 an hour. Like, please, can we focus on me? But he mentioned that his son is a guitar player.
Oh.
And took interest in me and my stuff. And I was obviously very, if your son ever needs anything, if you
hard
you say
barter.
he's trying to sell some of his guitars, let me know. I'm happy to take a look at what they're worth for you and like give you some advice on the best places you can sell them and things like that. So it did work out in my favour, actually. There was some stuff he didn't bill me for, which is nice. Yeah. Anyway, point is, yeah. So
be careful doing that hand gesture. Actually, I'll give a thumbs up instead.
That's
just in case the Proud Boys decide they're going to join this fucking podcast.
So I'm going to jump in and go mega off topic. When we were out in where were we? Maybe Disney. The OK sign, which like the edgy people put out this idea that we do this because this is white power.
Yes.
As a gag to see if it would catch on, and it totally.
I think they called it as a wolf whistle. I think is the term they used. The idea being it's meant to be that people inside the know use that to signal each other, but actually it's just so that they can laugh at people who think it's that much a conspiracy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so the term, I think, is, if I'm correct, is wolf whistling.
Okay, so yeah, Sue had mentioned that this means white power to Hayley, my wife, and Hayley took it hook, line and sinker. So anytime she'd see Marcus do something like that, just being super edgy, she's like, see, he's doing it. He is. He's a racist. And then I'd bring up like pictures of chefs doing this and fucking John Cena doing this. And like, this means okay. Everybody knows that. Okay.
I've never seen John Cena do that, but I've never seen John Cena.
To be fair, who has? So when we were out in at Disney, there was a so you call it wolf whistling.
I think that's the term they used. There was some terminology used in obviously the idea being that it's meant to be to point out people who think it's an actual thing.
Yeah.
But I think the term they used was it's a wolf whistle, meaning that it's not really what you think it is. Right. I don't know why, but that was the idea I'd heard.
Well, someone did the same thing with the T-pose.
Right.
They put out this idea that when people stand like this, it's like a signal of like it's like a KKK type thing or whatever. Like I didn't follow. I just basically saw the guy posting on Reddit saying, look guys, here's the evidence that I said I was going to do this to try and make it catch on, and here's all of the news articles posting saying like, oh, this person's a confirmed racist because they're doing the T-pose type thing, which I found really funny. So I turned to Hayley and I said, we should make our own one, and the first thing I came up with was this.
Right.
So this is now a racist thing, a thumbs up, because there should only be one race and they should be white. See? So this now, thumbs up, that's racist. Okay, let it catch on. That's my wolf whistling thing. It was either going to be that or this,
right?
Like the praying thing, because again, it should be crush all races.
Right, so anyone who's watching and decides to edit this video, please don't include me.
Take me massively out of context. So you're not getting away with a thumbs up. I know you. I'm on to you. You're disgusting.
Not again.
Anyway, so my lawsuit.
Racist, eh? Nature's fucking comedians.
Yeah. So basically there was 9 months ago, I partnered up with Scotty Anderson,
Okay.
Had him up on my YouTube channel because, as everyone should know, I've been a huge fan of Scotty Anderson for a very long time. Huge
I remember
influence.
you being very excited. I do. Sorry to interrupt.
He's been a really big influence on me. And then, I'd posted some of his videos and got some good traction and a lot of traffic for him. And he ended up reaching out to me saying, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And it's actually been quite helpful to me. I got to know him a little bit. We talked and did that video, and he was basically just a bit down on his luck in life. He's not achieved all the things that he should have for someone with his level of skills.
Definitely.
So I jumped into action and was like, well, you know what? Like, if there's any way I can help, if there's a way that I can see that I can help, let me do that. Let me try and help you with that. And I said, first of all, you've got, if you go on iTunes right now, there's 2 of your albums there. But you have 4 albums. There are 2 albums from years and years and years ago that aren't available. Why don't we put those out again? Why don't we put those up on Bandcamp? I was like, don't worry about it, Scotty. I know you don't understand how all this stuff works, but I'll take care of all of that for you. I'll do all of the admin. I'll upload it. I don't want any money for it. I'll make sure all the payments get sent directly to you.
You're just humble to be able to do it for them.
Exactly. I want to help and kind of want to give back to someone that's helped me as much as you have over the years. They didn't do massive amounts of money at all. Put both albums up, and Scotty probably made $800, like peanuts. Because ultimately, again, after they went up and I initially promoted them and said, look guys, I've done this thing for Scotty. If you go and buy these albums, don't worry, I'm not getting a penny of it. It all goes directly to Scotty, so check them out. And yeah, if you want to support Scotty, please do, kind of thing. Yeah, I should have known a little bit better, and I probably should have looked into the situation with the copyrights for all of the original tracks.
So?
Yes. So there were some compositions on there that weren't Scotty's. Yes. So the owners of the copyright have reached out to Bandcamp, which in turn means Bandcamp reached out to Scotty. Because all of his contact information is there, despite the fact I set it up, because the payments go directly to him.
Of course.
Yeah. And also I wanted him to be able to log in and check all of the stats if he ever wanted to do that. And yeah, they're basically saying, you've got one of our tracks up there. This isn't licensed. We want it pulled down. We want all of the money that everything is made on there. Do it now, immediately, kind of thing. Yeah, and Scotty's wife got in touch with me, really quite worried and stressed. And I basically went, shit. Okay, this is 100% my bad. Don't you guys worry about it. I will take care of this. No matter what happens, this is my issue to deal with. You didn't do this. I did this. They've got no business actually speaking to you. It doesn't matter that it's Scotty's name, on the albums that are being sold. He didn't upload any of the content. He didn't ask me to upload the content. I offered to do it for him. And I could have done more due diligence on it. As far as I was aware, I should know this better because I nearly married a music publisher. I know the business side of things. I just had maybe assumed that a song called High Heel Sneakers that I hadn't heard before. I had just assumed it was one of Scotty's tunes. And yeah, it turns out it wasn't. And even then, because these were released by a record label originally, that's been, dead for 20 years or whatever, I just had assumed again that worst case scenario licenses would have been acquired for these things, potentially in perpetuity. Who knows? I fucked up. Basically, I've emailed the people that had emailed Scotty and said to them, first of all, this is who I am. This is what I've done. This is why I did it. Not that makes it okay, but just so you know, there was no malicious intent. I wasn't going out of my way to try and rip anyone off. I was actually just trying to help someone out. Please don't bother Scotty with this. This is me and me alone that needs to face this and deal with this. I said, the tracks have been pulled down. I am more than happy to send you every penny that they've made. Again, not Scotty, me. It will come out of my pocket because it's me that did this. I'm happy to send you all the stats right now. That track, High Heel Sneakers, has not sold a single copy as a single, but it has been purchased as part of the album a few times, and in total it's helped to generate it's helped to generate a certain amount, but if you split that among the tracks on the album, it's generated $32. So I'm more than happy to send you $32. Cool, yeah, kind of thing.
Let me know if that suits you.
Yeah, basically more than happy to send you the $32 because, again, rightfully so. Well, not rightfully so. You shouldn't get 100% of the money the track's made because, again, you might represent the people that wrote the track, but then those people didn't perform this particular track, so they shouldn't get the mechanicals for it. They should just get the publishing for it. But I'm happy. I fucked up. I'm happy to give you all of it if needs be. That's absolutely fine. That was like 4 days ago, and I've not actually heard back from them. I assume it'll be a couple of things. Well, either they're lawyering up over $30, or they've looked at it and said, well, first of all right, this guy's in the UK, so it's going to be very expensive, and also the track has only made $30. I guess at an absolute push, they might be able to turn around and say, if you had licensed this from us correctly before you released the album, you would have paid $500, so we want $500. That I would probably fight, and my lawyer is there if I need him for that. If they want to go to the effort of suing someone in a different country for $500,
that's a lot of effort.
It's a lot of it. It's very expensive
for shit all.
Yeah.
You'd like to think there's a bit of common sense involved where they would look at the scenario and go, no.
Yeah, and I've also tried to make it right with them by saying, look, I had no idea who your artist was, and of their catalogue and things like that, but I have a not huge social media reach, but I'd love to maybe collaborate with you and maybe draw some more attention to some of these old recordings, old songs that you do own the publishing to. Could be good for you, kind of thing. So we'll see where that goes. But lawsuits,
always a fucking salesman, always a salesman.
Yeah,
always. I'm quite right.
No, because I'm not trying to sell. I'm just trying to sweeten the deal. Like, I fucked up here. If I can make this up,
but that's my point. It's not just a blank approach of, well, it's fucked and that's it. You're always like, let's make the best of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So fingers crossed, everything be fine.
Speaking of fingers crossed, everything goes fine. The Faceless.
Yeah. So the Faceless, Michael Keane.
Mike Keane. Yeah.
See, I'm learning.
Mm-hmm.
Still no idea what they sound like. Tell us about the Faceless and what are they doing, Mike?
The Faceless are like a technical death metal band who basically all their songs are kind of space and religion themed. First 2 albums are fucking bangers. Third album's not too bad. However, they have a very bad track record of cancelling gigs and pulling out of tours and shows, etc. And the rumours are that Michael Keane, the frontman, and the kind of... Well, he's not even the frontman, actually. He's a lead guitarist, but he does sing in the band. But basically the main, only original member, has a lot of problems.
I'm going to jump in and say, so do they have an actual singer as well?
Yes.
Okay, I assumed
so they have someone that does like the growl vocals, the lows, etc. And Michael Keane usually does kind of singing.
Okay.
It's got more and more as the albums have went on. At first, I think he basically just did like a...
Probably because he can't keep a singer long enough.
Well, yeah, they have had problems keeping a line up. No one's going to deny that. But the more and more the albums have went on, the more it's basically turned into the Michael Keane experience. Featuring other people rather than it being the Faceless, just because the amount of people that change bands. Anyway, everyone is not surprised that when gigs are announced by the Faceless, something goes wrong and they don't make the shows. The last gig for the last tour they were playing, they had a Glasgow gig that they pulled out of. I believe the reasons being that the drummer at the time, Bryce, had problems with his back, and a couple of other gigs went awry, and then they were booked to play at Bay Area Death Fest last year, where they turned up something like 3 hours late and played 4 songs very badly and then left, something along those lines. The rumours are, if they are rumours, that Michael has an addiction and I think he's battling with whatever drug, the rumour being heroin. If that's the case, heart goes out to the guy. I hope everything works out for him. But to continually book tours like you are functioning is quite irresponsible, and a bit of slap in the face to think that the fans who've paid for tickets before and tried to support the band, and I've seen a few posts on Facebook basically where people have said, don't give him your money, stop supporting him until he does something positive for himself.
Yeah.
And I do agree with that, and I feel sorry for the guys that are joining the band, considering the amount of people who've left the band and how publicly and viscerally they've spoken about how the experience was for them.
Yeah.
But now they've come out and said they're doing a 10th anniversary of Planetary Duality tour, which is a great album. I'm pretty sure that's the album they were supposed to play in full at Bay Area Death Fest, and they made maybe 3.5 songs in. So this is something like a 12 or 14 date tour. Auckland, Seattle, Calgary, Chicago, Ottawa, Quebec, Montreal, Brooklyn, St. Louis, Dallas, Albuquerque, El Paso, Los Angeles. Quite a lot of driving. Quite a good lineup as well. They're there with Rings of Saturn. Good friend Mike plays drums for them. Shout out to Mike. Also Interloper, who, funnily enough, they are ex-members of, or some of the members, sorry, were ex-members of Rings of Saturn and a couple other bands on there, I think Veil of Panath and Last 10 Seconds of Life, that's who it was. So it's a fairly good lineup. Like, even if the Faceless don't play, which I hope is not the case for the people that are going to be buying tickets, because the reason you're going to the tour is you want to see the Faceless do that fucking full album. I know I would as well if Mike Keane was in total perfect form. But I just don't believe it's going to happen.
It tells me a lot that a band can go out and do a full album tour, and you tell me that there's people that are going to want to go down and see them because they're playing the full album. What that tells me is I should probably go and listen to the album.
Yes, I think you should. I think you should listen to Akeldama first. It's the first album, and then Planetary Duality. Easy for me to say. I'm not that keen on anything else that comes afterwards, to be honest. There's Autotheism, which is the third album. It's not bad, but I guarantee every single song you will go, that is stolen from this band and this song. There is, like, it's so blatant. There's a bit in it that I'm not joking. You'd think Devin Townsend had just written it. One of the riffs in the second track, is pretty much blackened by Metallica. It's not even like it's not even like subtle. It's blatant as fuck. The first song is almost like they want to be fucking Opeth. Anyway, moving on before I start.
Yeah. I like your compassion for him though, like saying if the rumors are true and he does have problems with heroin, you feel bad for him. I'm gonna jump in and say I don't. Fuck that guy.
That's fair. Everybody's entitled to their opinion.
I grew up around junkies, and they're the worst people, and they will use and lie and cheat anyone just to get what they want. And he's probably the worst type of that then, because not only will he use, lie and cheat to do all of these things, but he's got access to people that look up to him to exploit those relationships in order to use, lie, abuse and cheat even more, which will put you in that perpetual cycle where how is he ever going to, why would he ever fix his life? He doesn't need to.
Well, that's it. He's been enabled.
Someone like this
is
is
not
not
to be.
Yeah, he's not going to hit rock bottom. How will he ever hit rock bottom?
I mean, I think rock bottom was when he turned up at Beer Death Fest nearly 3 hours later, and the videos are striking, is the term I'll use, watching him try to play guitar. A guy who's he is quite virtuosic. His lead parts are pretty fucking cool and different, but then you see him try to play them and it's just like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
Yeah, you just know that even if that's the worst gig of his life, I would be rock bottom for me. I'm sure afterwards he'd be able to reach out to some fans and be like, we were supposed to get paid this amount for the show, and because of problems we actually didn't get paid, and now I've not got enough money for my rent, and I could really just do with a little bit of help, and people will give him money.
Probably.
So, really, when I look at this, we're going to place some bets on it in a second. I'm looking at this and I'm like, what idiot has booked this? What promoter has looked at this and gone, this is a safe bet?
Even in this article, which is coming from Metal Sucks, the band, of course, have had a notoriously rocky year. Making concrete plans to go to one of these shows is likely a gamble.
Yeah.
Hopefully they get through the whole thing without any hiccups. I don't see it happening. But it'd be nice if that did happen. And maybe I'm biased. Maybe it's nostalgia because I fucking love those first 2 albums. Like, I love them. They're great. I think a lot of bands went down the same route as the Faceless after that and took a lot of inspiration from it. Not that it excuses anything and doesn't justify supporting them, the band, or Michael Keane directly for that matter, when, as you say, you're pretty much enabling a guy who's not to be enabled.
Yeah.
I actually got a bit of shit when they did pull out the Glasgow gig.
I saw that.
Because there was a bit of conversation on Facebook. Anyway, the first thing that happened as soon as I saw it was I text Kieran, my wee brother, K-Mac 2021, because he was going to the show. He was in Glasgow with his friends, and I had said I bet it gets cancelled for weeks before that, just to wind him up, just to be an asshole. And then I text him like, I am not kidding you on here, the gig has been cancelled. And he just texted me back like, are you fucking joking? And it was like, I think he actually just takes me back a voice clip of him laughing maniacally. For the reason being, like, he knew it was going to happen. He had it in his gut. Like, of course it's going to happen. Because it's happened every other time. And the most disappointing thing for me is, I had tickets to a gig where they were playing with After the Burial, who lost one of their guitarists sadly in a really strange incident, and a few other bands that I was really dying to see. I think Monuments might even have been on that tour. And I forgot about it, and I only remembered the week after the gig. And that was me and Kim meant to go, and I was fucking dying to go to this gig, and I fucked it. And it's the only gig I can think of that I've missed because I've, like, forgotten about the gig.
Who forgets about a gig?
I know, man. Like, especially one where you're like, all the bands that were there, you're like, that's a fucking ridiculous lineup.
I actually believe you when you say you forget about it. It's why I constantly keep reminding you. Mind, we're going to go see Tesseract at the end of November. Mind,
Who?
we're going to go see Monuments at the start of November.
Who?
Mind, we're going to go see Polyphia in February.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
These are not gigs that I thought I'd be going to anytime soon, but yeah, can't wait.
They're going to be great.
Anyway, so should we place bets on what we think is going to happen here?
What was it you said? 4 gigs and that be it?
Just be realistic about this. I reckon they will probably make the whole tour. I reckon they'll get through the whole tour, but I think there will be instances of their sets being much shorter than you'd expect them to, like half-hour sets.
It's fun. Well, I mean, the album is only about 45 minutes, to be fair. I'd hope they would play extra on top of that as well, but it's funny you say that because the first thing I was thinking was, I'm going to go wild card here. I'm going to say they're going to make every gig except maybe 2 or 3, and it's probably going to be logistics or something going wrong. That'll be the problem, not necessarily Michael Keane or other members having problems.
So this is interesting. Maybe it's us seeing the best in humanity, but neither of us are going with this tour's going to end up getting cancelled. My gut is telling me to say it will get cancelled.
I don't think the tour will get cancelled. I think what will happen, it'll be, if it does go that way, that the Faceless will just come off the lineup, and it will just be Rings of Saturn, Last 10 Seconds Live, Fail Enough, because and a Loper as well. Sorry, because Rings of Saturn are a good profile as well. They're a big band, and no doubt they could fill the slot. No doubt.
Yeah. So anyone listening, are you going to go and check these guys out live?
Do you like throwing money away?
It would kind of like be going to see Ghost, only literally. That was dreadful.
I'm going to be ghosted.
Yeah. So
oh man,
let's do something funny. Let's talk about Slash.
Ha! Slash, yeah. Everybody's favourite Les Paul player,
Yeah.
who also wants a Firebird.
Yes. Well, not
made by
once.
Epiphone.
Not once.
Sorry,
has.
Made by Epiphone.
Has a
Who
Firebird.
also played a guitar you would never expect him to play, which was a gold top Les Paul.
Yeah.
Because it's P90s in it.
Yeah. Also has that $13,000 Brazilian Rosewood one.
The one that he's never played.
Yeah.
And
But he loves it so much that he's playing a gold top.
with completely different pickups.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah.
probably doesn't have Brazilian Rosewood on it.
Yeah, again, let's just highlight the beauty of that. The releasing a signature Firebird with your own signature humbuckers in it because you wanted it to sound like your guitar, and then making a song and dance about using
Also the Les Paul scale length as well. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that.
Yeah. And using, and then going on to say, I used Les Paul Gold Top on most of the new album because it had different pickups in it and it sounded different and I liked the sound.
And also endorsing that $13,000 one that you said, and I think that has just standard bus buckers in it.
Yeah. So maybe not just, throw your name on absolutely anything and throw your signature pickups in. Anyway, this is the most bizarre quote of all time. And annoyingly, again, lack of preparation. Probably could have read through the full article to see the context of this is presented in. But I want people to share in the joy of the title of the article in the same way that we did. So, Slash, here's the quote. "The Strat is hands down probably one of the best and most versatile guitars that there is."
Says the man who's played a Les Paul his full career.
Says the least versatile musician on this.
True. Yep. Because I have humbuckers, I'll take it. Have you ever seen him play anything with single coils? No.
Can't think of any.
No. Because you haven't.
I mean, did the Mockingbird have a single pickup in the middle? Single coil?
It was 2 humbuckers. Literally 2 humbuckers.
So I'm going to read this. In a recent podcast interview, Slash, one of the most high-profile players of Gibson Les Pauls, offered surprisingly high praise for the Fender Stratocaster. The eyebrow-raising revelation came during a chat with the Sex Pistols legend Steve Jones on his regular 2-hour slot on 95.5 KLOS called Jones's Jukebox. I thought Steve Jones was dead for some reason. But, cool. The conversation quickly turned to buying guitars. Slash mentioned that he hadn't made a purchase since the 90s. Does that not contradict this new gold top that he played on the album?
I don't think they said he bought it.
Well,
it didn't say he owned it, just that he used it on the album. It could be a studio's.
Yeah, I guess. But
he just traded in a whole bunch of guitars.
That just says so much to me that, like, you've not bought a new guitar since the 90s. I'm sorry, you're not a fucking guitar player then. You're just not a guitar player. Players can't not buy guitars. It's an addiction. It's worse than a heroin addiction.
Let's go one back, though. It's fucking Slash. He's probably just been given guitars left, right and centre. It's not to say he's not playing new instruments, just to say that he doesn't have to go into his own pocket for them.
Fair.
You lucky son of a bitch.
Yeah. I mean, is he? As many Gibson Les Pauls as money could buy.
And Epiphone Firebirds.
Yeah. Are these
on
guitars
a
you'd
gold
want?
top as well, at Strats too.
Imagine the misery of having gone. I'll let you cough.
Thank you.
Imagine the misery of having all of the guitars you wanted, but they were all Gibsons.
So none of the guitars that I wanted then.
Yeah. Anyway, but he's just traded in a whole bunch of guitars for a much coveted 59 Sunburst, the holy grail of electric guitars.
Is it aye?
Yeah. Has it got a Brazilian rosewood board on it?
What about the Slash humbuckers?
Yeah. I'm sure he'll throw them in there. However, when asked whether he liked Fenders, the G&R man confessed that as far as I'm concerned, and Gibson probably wouldn't want me to say it, the Strat is, hands down, probably one of the best and most versatile guitars there is. High praise indeed.
He went on to say, but I've always gravitated to a Les Paul, and there's Strat guys, and there's Les Paul guys. No, there's guitarists.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I guess when you're being interviewed and you're just talking, words fly out. I'm sure if he had time to really think about it, he could have said, as far as I'm concerned, and Gibson probably won't want me to say this, the Strat is probably hands down one of the most versatile guitars there is. The only questionable part is the fact that he said probably one of the best and most versatile guitars there is. If you remove that best, like, I can't really argue with him. The Strat is a pretty versatile guitar. But then you've got to look at it and you've got to go, well, how do you know that, Slash?
I mean,
You shouldn't even know that. You shouldn't have touched one of these things in 30 fucking years.
Get your hands off. I don't disagree with his point, though. Like, I think between the Les Paul, the Strat, and the Telecaster, generally speaking, like, they got them right first time. They were just perfect for the job they had to have. The Telecaster especially. I know you're very much a traditionalist when it comes to it, and I don't know when the first Tele was designed. Let's say it was 100 years ago. Probably not as far back as that.
50, 51?
Well,
the No-caster.
Fucking
like
70
the
years.
Broadcaster is 51.
70 fucking years, and that design is still heralded as just being right. Speaks for itself. Maybe the Strat should fall into that one of the best categories.
Yeah, Strats are great guitars. And they're what, 54? The first Strat is 54.
The ergonomics of these guitars, like, the thought that must have went into the first Les Paul, single cut shape, the first Telecaster and the first Strat, to just get it right.
That's why I love the Telecaster, though, because I don't think any thoughts did go into the ergonomics.
Let's just cut holes in wood and see what happens.
Let's just we want a guitar that's a solid body with pickups in it. And then when Leo Fender made the Stratocaster, at that point he's gone, well, how can we make this thing look beautiful, and how can we make it as ergonomic and comfortable and, designed to be played?
But the Telecaster is beautiful naturally.
Yeah, because it's just raw and just I love them. Everything. Yeah. Still, you look behind us and you can't see a single Telecaster on the wall, right? There is one.
No,
actually.
But
you can see a Telecaster neck just there.
A floating Ormsby.
Yeah.
How does that work?
I've actually hired someone to just hang on the roof. Spider-Man's just holding it there. So then, there's a Telecaster here, but of the 16 guitars that I own, I don't own a single guitar with a tremolo.
Nope.
And it's not because I don't hate tremolos. It's not because I don't like tremolos. I do like tremolos, but my entire playing style is based around that fixed bridge thing, which is a telly ethos. Like everything I do on the instrument comes from that telly oriented background. So I don't crave guitars that have tremolos on them. So that fucking minor 7-string there, I mean, it's not a Telecaster, is it? But in my mind, it's got some of those Telecaster
elements,
DNA.
Okay, yeah, I get what you mean. Yep.
More so than if you had a Floyd Rose in it. Yeah.
Yes.
So there we go. That's as far as I'm going to go with Slash. It's funny.
Yeah, just until he tells us next week that fucking, I don't know, he loves Martin acoustics.
Yeah, big fan of the Dan Electros.
That's it.
Right.
I've been playing Mayonnaise for 3 years now.
I'm going to go with this Marty Friedman story, and before we do the actual Marty Friedman story, I'm gonna give you some shocking news. Some shocking news, right? Mate, are you on Instagram?
Yes.
Marty Friedman doesn't follow me on Instagram. How amazing is that?
Disappointing.
How amazing is that? Marty Friedman doesn't follow me on Instagram. The point I'm trying to make here, people, is if Marty Friedman follows you on Instagram, stop posting about it on Facebook. Nobody cares that Marty Friedman follows you on Instagram because Marty Friedman follows literally everybody on Instagram. And when you follow him back, he immediately unfollows you. So don't think that Marty Friedman is sat there watching all of your videos and looking at your pictures and loves what you do. He has a bot. I can point you in the direction of people that have been followed and unfollowed by Marty Friedman multiple times. Yeah. So if anything, brag about the fact that Marty Friedman doesn't follow you on Instagram. In fact, if you want Marty Friedman to remain following you on Instagram, when he follows you, don't follow him back.
Perfect. Sounds good to me.
Not if he follows you, when he follows you. Don't follow him back. Marty, I love you. You are one of my youth idols. I learned a lot from your playing. I had the pleasure of interviewing you. We hung out for a bit. It was good times. I like you a lot. You're a nice guy. If you follow me on Instagram, I will block you. I'm not giving you that ability. You're not using me as a fucking marketing tool while we sit here and market for you for nothing. That's probably the worst thing I've ever said. But there you go. So big news, guys. Marty Friedman doesn't follow me on Instagram, and that's actually something to actually brag about. I feel terrible, because I know this. When you see 30 in the last couple of months, you see 30 different people all post a picture of Marty Friedman following them on Instagram, on their Facebook. You know they don't. They have no idea. But you've seen so many of them. It's like, do I tell them? Do I not? Do I just let them live the dream, or do I? Unfortunately, I've never actually had to. It gets to the point now where I look at them and I read the comments and someone has to break the news to them.
Sorry, bro.
Yeah. So anyway, Marty Friedman, following on from, who was it? Was it Brent Hines?
Brent Hines, correct. Sold a lot of his equipment.
On Reverb. Marty Friedman is setting up a store to sell a bunch of his amps and more in the official store.
Muy interesante.
So yeah, you could be excited about this. Marty Friedman selling a bunch of his old gear. He's got a lot of cool guitars that I'd want. Yeah, definitely. I'm sure he's got a Hurricane that I'd take. Anyway, he says, if you saw me on tour from around 1993 to the end of the decade, these are the actual cabinets and amps that I was playing through. If you've heard any work that I've done on albums from the same time period, it was done on these amps and cabs. Oh, there's a gigantic moth in this studio.
It's all right, he just wants a light.
I mean, all the bugs are covered in now. Mike, can you close the window?
Yes.
Moth, stay there. I don't think I've ever seen a moth that big. Wow. Anyway, yeah.
We've got a surprise guest.
Yeah, so he talks about, this is just a collection of my stuff, and it would be so much better if fans could get their hands on them. So what we're going to have, some of his old carvings, maybe some of what was he playing in Megadeth? He had the Jacksons.
Yeah, that's right. The signature Jacksons, the Kelly.
Yeah.
And as you say, I think it was the carvings, the kind of carpeted ones, wasn't it? An X100B or something like that. Yeah,
the monstrosities that Tom Hess plays. Yeah. So
that's the dream.
That is the dream. Living the dream, man. Sure can. Yeah, so you've not looked at this, have you?
I have not. So this is fresh to me.
What do you think Marty's selling?
Nothing of value.
Nearly 20 guitars and amps. and other instruments. Okay, so there's a clone of a 1990s Fernandez Strat style guitar that Friedman prizes for its tone. During a recording session, Friedman was trying to find a great clean tone. When I can't even say serendipitously, evidently I can. It's a word that I desperately avoid. Had a visit by a Fernandez rep with a new guitar that made his day. It didn't sound like any guitar I'd ever played before. I plugged it in and it was like the heavens parted. It had the most beautiful, glassy, clean, melodic and full of pitch, full of beautiful resonant tone that I've ever heard in an electric guitar.
That sounds like a Gumtree ad.
Yeah, because you listen to that and you're like, oh, that's fantastic. So that's all you've played since, right?
Let's go even one better. This clone is the closest anyone will ever get to matching the clean tone of that magical guitar.
Yeah.
So you're selling a copy of the guitar that you think is the best clean sounding guitar in the world.
It's just, I mean...
What the fuck is that? That's terrible.
It's a Strat with 3 EMGs in it, and there's, by the looks of things, is that Seymour Duncan?
Somebody slammed like a humbucker between the bridge and mid pickup. What the fuck is going on with that horror?
Yeah, definitely a strange one. But yeah, so these are things he's selling, right?
Oh, crate.
A crate amp.
Old crate amps. Interesting.
Is that a shamisen? Yeah, shamisen.
A what? Shamisen?
Japanese stringed instrument.
Oh, okay.
Tom Monder plays one on the start of In the Company of Worms in Thank You Scientists.
Oh, okay. That's what that is. That sounds cool. That's interesting.
A Firebird, so Slash will probably buy that.
It's a Firebird copy.
Oh, it's a copy. Wow. Interesting. Can you legally sell it then? Sure, it depends what it says on the headstock.
Yeah. I don't think it'll be a copy in terms of it'll say Gibson.
Right.
But who knows?
Must be, though, or else surely they'd say who made it.
But it could be like a Honda or something.
All right.
Do you know what I mean? There we go.
A 1999 Gibson SG.
Wild.
A 1999 Gibson Les Paul. I mean, that is a beautiful Les Paul.
He gave both of them, weren't he? They were just
totally
lumped right in his fucking knee. Play them in the album. Go on.
Yeah, it's exactly the same as Slash saying, oh, I've just traded in a bunch of guitars to get a 59 Les Paul. I've not bought a guitar since the 90s. Oh, so I wonder what you traded in then. Slash, the man that famously on the best I was going to say the only album he's ever recorded that's worth listening to, but let's go with the only album he's ever recorded that's worth listening to from start to finish on repeat multiple times. He didn't even own the damn Les Paul that he recorded that on, you know. So yeah. Oh, look, a little crate practice amp. Oh, look, a crate combo amp. Oh, another crate combo amp. Oh, look,
this doesn't look like the equipment in a school.
Yeah. No,
our music department is one of the best in the area. And you, what? It's just,
I just can't get my head around how this is like people are okay with this. Because the worst part about this is these won't sell for what year was that Les Paul? Because the Les Paul was really, really pretty. It's 1999 Les Paul. You know, this isn't going to sell for what a 1999 Les Paul is worth. But these aren't Marty Friedman guitars. Please, whoever buys this, don't pay over the odds for this.
No.
Because it's not going to be worth anything down the line. It's just not.
Yeah, you're right. There's no heritage to it. It's literally just a guitar that someone else has had.
Yeah. If there's a picture of him in an ad holding this guitar, then by all means, like, you've got a great buy because you've got a piece of history. This, as you say, is just a guitar that someone happened to own. And if you know you want to buy guitars that someone happened to own, hit me up. I've got some guitars that I'm happy to shift, and I used to own them.
Fucking Del Boy.
Yeah, it's like, as crazy as this sounds, people struggle with this. I understand it and hate it. Guitars that are signed, it doesn't add any value to the guitar.
No, absolutely doesn't. You see it sometimes in like Gumtree, and in musician circles, I can understand some people maybe having a bit of a cherished thought towards it. But sometimes you see where it's like signed Hannah Montana guitar and it's framed and it's clear somebody's bought that for a catalogue for a Christmas present and someone else that the recipient isn't really that into it, and you're like, why are you asking £500 for a guitar that's worth about 30 quid and a 60 quid frame with a bit of paper around it? Yeah. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, my first Sir, my Guthrie Sir, I used to get that signed whenever I met people or interview people, and they signed it on the back of the headstock, and they were there for me. The signature was there for me when I was playing. It would be nice to just sort of push the headstock forward and look at some of those signatures and just think of the times that I'd spent with those people and the things that I'd learned from them, like an inspiring type thing. And when it came time to selling that guitar, I really wished that I could take those signatures off and put them on, because I had like Greg Howe was on there and Mike Stern was on there and obviously Guthrie was on there, though because his signature was laser etched in on the back of it anyway, it didn't feel right getting him to sign his name again.
He's already signed guitar.
Yeah, so I asked him to write "was here." So he wrote "was here" with a smiley face.
I think Paul Gilbert used to write that as well, didn't he? Paul Gilbert was here.
Yeah, those types of things. Yeah.
And those wee crazy drawings he used to do in his plectrums and shit.
Yeah. Yeah, so signatures on guitars just not really worth anything.
That's it. And as you say, it's all memory. That's all things that like you cherished. It wasn't because you wanted to think or you thought there was any way it would add value.
Yeah, though I mean, I was going to say like a signature isn't worth anything to me. I guess the signature of a living person isn't worth anything to me. If I'm not going to purchase a guitar that has a signature on there and care about it, because if it's Paul Gilbert or whatever, you used to see those all the time. People trying to sell their PGMs and wanting so much more for them because they were signed by Paul Gilbert. It's like, show me one that isn't signed by Paul Gilbert. That's the valuable one. That's the rare one. Everyone got their PGM signed by Paul Gilbert. But yeah,
props to Paul for being a nice guy and doing that as well.
Yeah, I want to say that I wouldn't pay for a signature. Yeah, on just about anything that I'd buy, it wouldn't really add any value. Like, you know how much I love Michael Romeo. If I had the opportunity to buy a Michael Romeo guitar and it was signed by Michael Romeo, sure, I'm going to take the signed one over the one that's not signed. But if there's any discrepancy in price between them, I'm going to go for the one that's not signed.
Not at a premium.
Yeah, because there will come a time where I can get him to sign it. If it's that important to me, I will go out of my way to make sure that I get it signed. Yeah. Because that's what's important, right? It's the memory. When I saw those signatures on my Sir, it was the memory of those times with them. Having said that, just thinking about it, would I pay money for a piece of Jerry Reed memorabilia that was signed by Jerry Reed? I probably would. Would I really like to have a copy of one of Christopher Hitchens' books signed? Yeah, that would be nice.
Okay.
Because I can't get those autographs now. So yeah.
Fair enough. I don't really put any value on signatures that way. Like the same way you're talking about things being for your own personal value, fine, but financial value, I don't see it. I don't understand it.
Yeah, like would I pay a premium for those things, I guess is the question.
That's what I'm asking. Like if there's a difference in cost, how do you justify that?
I guess it's going to depend what the difference in cost is. Because I mean, sure, there's got to be some people that if there was an opportunity to buy something and it was 10% more because it was signed by, I'm trying. Why is Abraham Lincoln popping into my head? But let's go over Abraham Lincoln, right? Yeah.
A signed fucking modem or something, aye?
Yeah, signed Abraham Lincoln signed modem. Whatever it happened to be, like a letter from Abraham Lincoln to someone, right? I don't think you can buy an unsigned one of those, to be fair.
No, they're not very common.
But you get what I mean. Like if it's of historical significance, historical significance varies from person to person. Jerry Reed, big part of my musical identity. So, if I could have something signed by Jerry Reed, that would be really cool. Maybe something signed by Joe Pass, that would have been cool. Yeah. But actually, I'd put more value on a Jerry Reed autograph than not.
Well, maybe the point should be that the premium, the added value has got to be specifically for one buyer or a very, very minuscule market. To think that as a person who owns something and as a seller potentially in the future, this is going to increase the value, you're probably very wrong unless you get the exact right person for the sale. Yeah. Fair?
Yeah, as everyone knows, I'm a big wrestling fan, and I really like. This isn't me jumping off on a tangent, I promise. I really, really like Tommaso Ciampa. He's the NXT champion. He is the ultimate bad guy. His if you just want fun, you just check out Tommaso Ciampa's Twitter. I saw he posted he's the kind of guy that complains when a poster goes up and he's not front and center of it. And he always tags people not properly. He just writes @ next to their name. Anyway, yeah, so here we go. Airport, fan asks for an autograph on 10 items. Me asks fan for his name. Fan says just to sign the items. Me, no. Like that to me, like if you're getting something signed, that's what I want, right? I want my name on it. I want it to Levi, not just with a name on it. So
because the whole point in getting a signature from someone and going to that effort of meeting them to get it is, can you make this memory more memorable for me? Can you give me a memento, something that I can look back in time for? It's not like this is worth more money if you touch it.
Yeah. So
because it's not. Who cares?
I'm going to push you on that a little bit then. So because I don't really, my answer may genuinely be no on this. But is there anyone that's like no longer with us that their signature would be worth something to you, be of value, like someone that you idolised could be a musician, a film star, or
when you say worth, you mean that I would pay money for? Like I could set a value to, minimum, maximum. The answer's no.
Okay.
Genuinely, I think there's things I'd maybe cherish to have, or I would aspire to have, and I would cherish if I did have for personal reasons, but nothing that would make me go out and seek them and pay money for them.
Okay, cool. I have actually been on eBay before, and I have looked for signed Jerry Reed items, and I have looked for a signed copy of one of Christopher Hitchens' books. So evidently, those are things that I would actually purchase.
And that's fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, I was trying to rack my brains to think if there was anyone, and for you,
Freddie Mercury, I think, is probably the only person that I would really have value of.
It's a good example.
Their signature, but I don't think I'd pay money for it because I don't see the value in that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I mean, a nice signed poster of Freddie Mercury, right? You're not going to pay £500 for it.
I'm a fuck.
Would you pay a £5 for it?
Well, pay a £5 for a poster, so but you're not paying the premium for the signature, then you're just paying for the item.
Well, so I'm trying to like, okay, a tenner for the poster.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just interested to see where your line is.
A discernible minimum maximum, I don't know.
Yeah.
It would depend entirely on the person, the poster, the signature, the backstory to it, I think, as well. If it was somebody like just trying to blatantly profiteer, I'd probably be like, cool, I will give you nothing.
Yeah.
You can suck this fat one. It's not really fat, to be fair.
If I had a signed Freddie Mercury poster, Mike, I'd give it to you.
You probably would, actually.
I wouldn't want anything for it. I know it would make you happy, so I'm gonna look for a signed Freddie Mercury poster now.
Fucking camera.
I've got a signed Freddie Mercury iPhone.
I don't want an iPhone though.
Oh, damn it.
Can it not be an Android?
I'll see if I can get him to sign one.
Move on.
Yeah, move on. Cool, so now we're moving on to the last section.
Yep, and speaking of things that have the most incredibly somehow self-perceived value that doesn't exist, if that makes sense, Yngwie Malmsteen has been kind enough to bring out a rock icons statue. I'm deliberately going to bring it up without the price. Mm-hmm. Bam! Look at it. It's just so glorious. It doesn't look anything like him. His strat's misshapen. He's standing on some, I don't know what that is, cocaine and bricks. Maybe this is him sailing across the sea on his drug haul. I don't know. It's got his name on it.
I mean, it is a really good question. Why is he standing on like a snowy wall?
That is bricks of coke.
Is he in Westeros?
You know nothing, Yngwie Malmsteen. Fuck knows, right?
When they went, when winter's coming, did they mean Malmsteen?
Maybe.
It just looks dreadful, doesn't it?
At least they could actually get a real photo for the cover of Odyssey. Could be him literally battling fucking dragons with his guitar. That'd be great.
Yeah. That's Trilogy.
Sorry, Trilogy. My apologies. I'm not a big Yngwie Malmsteen fan, as I'm sure you can tell.
Yeah. I am. I love him. I've got Malmsteen stories that I think I'm sure I've probably told on the podcast before. I really do like Malmsteen, like especially his early albums, like not so much now. But
Kieran was talking about Yngwie Malmsteen. It was making me laugh, saying that somebody was like trying to interview him, saying, "Do you not think that less is more?" And it's like, no, that's impossible. More is more.
More is more. How can less be more? More is more.
That's fucking great. Like,
it's the best
what an answer. He's right.
Yeah,
you just kind of need to go, I suppose.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I'd love to interview him and ask him about that question, because I've watched that clip so many times. It's a classic clip, right? And I don't know if he's being funny, like deliberately being like he knows that it's a silly answer, or if he's being deadly serious, like Drax the Destroyer in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
Like someone said to him, "Don't you think less is more? How can less be more? More is more."
It's quite right,
Yeah. So I like to think he's being very literal. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand. How can less be more? More is more.
Yeah.
Anyway, look at this. Look at this statue. I don't know what it's made out of. When we look at the price, you'll appreciate it's not a cheap item, and I really do appreciate that they've gone to the effort of not making him as fat as he is in real life, because a lot more material would be required in order to.
Did you ever watch Celebrity Deathmatch?
Yeah.
Do you not think this looks like a Celebrity Deathmatch version of Yngwie Malmsteen? Like he's just about to stand in the ring and fight. I don't know who else. Fucking genuinely don't know who else you could put in the ring. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Slash.
Maybe, yeah.
Slash, armed to the teeth with 1,000 different guitars, swinging that. You're going, I love this one. I love this one. I love this one.
Yngwie Malmsteen with 900 of the same Strat.
Yeah. He actually has an amazing collection of guitars. And have you seen a video where he shows off his guitar collection?
Someone was just throwing them about and shit. It just doesn't give a fuck.
Just got a pile of guitars on the floor. This guitar, Steve Vai gave me this guitar. This is a nice guitar. Throws it onto the pile of guitars on the floor.
There's one where he's in a taxi and he goes to a guitar shop somewhere in London and he's playing and he buys the Strat and he just opens the taxi door and just fucks it in. Just throws it like full neck first, like get it to fuck away from me. And I think he's just paid something like $9,000 for it. Yeah. I mean, it's wrong roll, to be fair.
Yeah, and that's why I like him.
He's almost nearly doing that pose in the video.
The reason I like him is because he is, for some reason, he is still, in 2018, every little bit of the rock and roll dream that you thought you wanted to be in the 70s. He still thinks of himself that highly. He is a rock star. My story of him is there's a boy that follows him around backstage, carrying a guitar. I watched this kid look terrified at all times, but I like to think that he was carrying it because just in case Malmsteen wanted a guitar, at any time he could turn around and go, "Boy, give me my guitar."
It's a bit like the Sword Boy in fucking Evil Dead 3.
Yeah,
Sword Boy.
I would lick shit off his boot to be that boy, to be the boy that got to carry Malmsteen's guitar, because he.
I'm going to save that quote.
Yeah, I know. He is everything that shouldn't exist. He believes his own hype, and it's incredible to watch. Absolutely incredible to watch.
I'm glad you really clarified that at the start. That you were saying that he is everything about rock and roll, but then you were like, and only in his own eyes, really, because that video that we watched only a few months ago, you, I, and Doug and Kendo were all commenting about it. And it's like, how does one man with so much talent fall so far and not realise? Yeah.
So,
anyway.
This Yngwie Malmsteen rock icon statue, yours for the low, low price of $150.
No, $149.
Yep, good point. Well, I'm sure when you throw shipping onto that.
I mean, I think it's even more embarrassing than the rest of them. Like Janis Joplin, bigger icon than Yngwie Malmsteen, still not worth $149. Guns N' Roses Axl, still not worth $149. Mick Mars, definitely not worth $149.
They do a fucking Ghost one.
I'd rather pay $149 for the Ghost butt plugs that came out.
Yeah. So I mean, really, we're going down the route of worst band related merch that ever existed, right? This Malmsteen thing has got to be right up there.
It doesn't even look that Malmsteen-y. That's the worst part.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't not look like him, but it really doesn't look like him either.
You know what I'd describe it as, right? The thing with Malmsteen is when he burst out in the early 80s, 84, his first album came out in, I think. Mm-hmm. 84, yeah. And before that, he was playing with Steeler and Alcatraz. Mm-hmm. So he's like very, very early 80s. When you look back at footage of him from that time, and photos of him from that time, right? Mm-hmm. He was a good-looking boy. He was a good-looking boy that...
You could see the charisma coming out of him.
Exactly. He was so good at what he did. He just owned the stage, and women loved him. Loved it. My first Malmsteen CD was given to me by the mother of my one of my childhood girlfriends, because I didn't think of her as much of a music fan, but I was just looking for her CD collection, and a Malmsteen best of was in there, and she was like, "Oh, I love him. Oh, he wrote such lovely songs. I love his songs. You can have that." And that tells me that in her youth, Malmsteen would have been someone that she looked to in the same way that, you know, girls when we were younger would have looked at like Westlife or way we looked at the Spice Girls. Yeah.
Not so much.
Not so much?
Not so much.
Okay. I pay good money for a Spice Girls signed thing. Yeah. I love the Spice Girls. Anyway, so he was an attractive young boy, and now he's I want to say shriveled, but that means small, doesn't it?
Bloated.
Yeah, let's go for it. But he's a combination of both shriveled and bloated. This looks like neither of those. He doesn't look like a young, attractive man in there. This looks like they've made a statue of what he wished he looked like now.
Yeah, I get that.
He actually looks like an extra from Lord of the Rings now with these weird fucking sideburny type things. Yeah.
It's like a bad photo fit.
Absolutely terrifying. But yours for the low cost of $150.
And for anyone who's really worried, I mean, there's only 3,000 available. I know you're all going to be clambering to get one. They do a 3-month payment plan.
So we're talking about worst band merchandise ever to close up with. And we have talked about a fair few things in the past. We've certainly mentioned the Ghost Butt Plugs has come up before.
Yngwie's pens.
Oh, yeah, of course.
These beautiful Sharpies, you know what I mean? Limited edition. You won't get these anywhere.
We made mention of Rammstein having a box of dildos available.
Correct.
And someone else has joined that party.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us more.
Someone else can now join the Go Fuck Yourself fan club, which is Marilyn Manson. He's decided to release a dildo with his face on it. And it says Marilyn Manson up the shaft. If you have ever wanted anything to intimidate someone, ever, then this is your best bet. If you decide I need to rob the most horrendously violent person you can imagine, just break into their house when they're sleeping and just wave that near them, and I swear to God they'll be like, take what the fuck you want. Because Marilyn Manson's fairly grotesque's the wrong word. He can be quite an alarming looking character at the best of times, but as a phallic sex toy,
if you've ever wanted his face inside you, I could be totally wrong on this. I don't think I am. I could look in a lot closer on there, right? But as far as I'm concerned, that is a rendered image of what the product should look like. That's not the actual product.
I'd be very concerned if it is, because it's quite a lifelike face.
There it is for everyone to stare at. I think that that's you don't want that. That's neck diagrams. I think that it's not going to look anything really like that.
It's not even going to fit in the pouch. How are you supposed to hide your fucking Marilyn Manson dildo when his face is popping out?
Mate, I've got something to tell you. Perspective. That's in the background.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, absolutely horrific. But, you know, people probably want to know more, right? So
do they?
Yeah, some more stats. It's silicon, made of silicon, hypoallergenic. Nice. 8 inches tall and a 1.5 inch diameter. So...
Wait. Let's just step back. According to Marilyn Manson's official online story, the double-cross dildo and bag includes a soft, lifelike Marilyn Manson dildo and velvet double-cross logo bag for easy and discreet storage. Soft, lifelike Marilyn Manson dildo.
What does he mean? Like soft? Is it spongy? And lifelike? Is he implying that this is an accurate representation of his face, or his penis actually has his face on it?
It's flaccid and disappointing like any other cokehead's penis.
Oh, yes.
Obviously, that's just speculation.
In case you were wondering, it has a sucker on the base type, not a, like if it had a sucker, we might be interested.
I was going to say it's disappointing.
And more importantly, it's wiped clean, which
good.
Is
good.
Which is nice. So, yeah, absolutely horrifying. Did we say how much it was?
Even better.
$125.
Go fuck yourself, Marlon.
$125. Like, the thing with that is that you have to look at when you think about with this is Marilyn Manson. You traditionally have to think of him as being a very edgy, forefront of artistic expression and
Correct.
Being edgy. He's late to the party with the dildo thing, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's lost his touch. And even when you think about the inspiration for his name, taking Charles Manson and Marilyn Monroe, and putting them together, like both icons, but for completely different reasons, and all the things that went on just through his career in general, especially the stuff that happened with Columbine and him getting the blame for it, and all that kind of shit. Like he did for a while somehow have the voice of a generation, and it's just kind of fell away. Yeah. And to be selling sex toys on his website for $125 that have his face on them, it's a good sign that things are...
I mean, I'm not going to lie to you though, right? In a month or two, I am going to be scrolling YouTube to try and find some videos of people that have bought these, because I need to see what this thing looks like.
I think you're going to buy one, aren't you? I hope Nancy's not listening, because that's our Christmas wasted.
Enjoying those sweet, sweet Patreon bucks. Dildos galore. I always promise my supporters on Patreon that no matter what happens, no matter how successful I become, your Patreon money will never go on hookers and cocaine. But I didn't say anything about Marilyn Manson dildos.
That's disappointing. I was going to subscribe to your Patreon, and just on the premise you were going to get fucked up.
Hookers and cocaine, yeah. No, dildos. Marilyn Manson dildos. So there we go. Absolutely horrifying. But what do you guys think?
Kill the fire.
We've asked it before, but we're always up for more. Can you think of worse band merchandise than this? Who has made worse merchandise than this? I'm not necessarily asking you. Nothing jumps into my mind.
Nope.
Because we've done it before. But yeah, that's pretty egregious. So Marilyn Manson, yeah, as Mike said, go fuck yourself. Absolutely ridiculous.
Take your own face and fucking wipe clean hypoallergenic silicone shaft and fuck yourself. Full on.
Yeah. I
mean, he might, all the rumours about him removing his ribs to suck his own dick and shit, if you remember. He allowed that to perpetuate. That, I don't get that. But I do. He was quite happy to be the anti-hero, to use the term.
You've just given me flashbacks there, mate.
Of what?
I'm not even going to say it on the podcast. I'll say it afterwards.
I don't know if I want to know.
Yeah. Cool. So thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. We do really appreciate you watching. We try and fit in as many podcasts as possible. So we will be back. Don't worry. We're not giving this up. We do this for fun.
Definitely not. Absolutely. And we just on that point, there's been a few people reached out to me recently, just with a couple of ideas and such. We've not covered them on this one, but I thought they deserved a bit more forward thought before we went into them, so that we could basically even do a full episode kind of round about that with Album Club at the end. So that's all to come in. It's been in contact with me. I'm sure your ideas will be voiced on here soon enough. If anyone else is interested, you know where we are. Facebook, Instagram, obviously on all the podcasting sites, YouTube, Bandcamp. Hit us up.
Not on Spotify yet, though.
No?
I need to resubmit us to Spotify.
Fuck you, Spotify.
The problem with Spotify is they don't... It's not like an instant, they'll take any podcast type thing.
Mm-hmm.
They have to manually approve them, and they look at them and see if it's worth them having them on the platform. And unfortunately, our podcast name has the word arsehole in it. So
that same platform that's just admitted they're opening up to every artist on the planet.
Yeah,
it's funny how they need.
We'll get there one day.
Yeah.
Because I think people do listen to podcasts on Spotify, so it'd be nice to be there. Bit of validity. We might get a few more listeners then. That'd be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, so if you are one of our listeners, tell a friend, tell an enemy.
Aye. Probably a lot more enemies we'll get to know than friends, but please spread the word.
Yes, because we like sitting here and talking about all things music, and we hope you guys enjoy it as much as we enjoy doing it.
Absolutely, man. Talking shit is our forte.
Yeah. So again, thanks very much for your time, and until next time,
bye, fuckers.